You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. Hey, we're coming to you live from paceradio.net as well as on the 420 Pace. Good evening, Tamara. What do you got there, Doobie?
It's been a day, so, I'm trying to stay awake. I don't know how well that's going to happen. The week's been kind of long. And, I do that quick turnover, right? Like where I worked last night till 9 and I was back at the store for 8 o'clock opening this morning. So it's been a day. And it was slow at work because it's January, right? So people are broke, they have no money, they're not buying snacks.
January, February, March.
Right.
Yeah.
So it makes the day really long. And we had no orders that came in. Usually we have Cormark or somebody comes in to do a delivery on Wednesdays. Nothing came in. Pepsi guy showed up and said, "Hey, we're just gonna let this stuff roll because you haven't sold much." All right. So yeah, it makes for a really long day. And even though it's 6 hours but I don't get a break, right? I don't take lunch, I don't take 15-minute breaks, I get nothing at 6 hours straight. It's a long day when you just I was wiping showers.
Hey, at least your lottery machine doesn't sound like it was busy then.
Oh yeah, it was still busy.
Oh, okay.
I've just come to the resolution that I have to do this, whether I like it or not. There's always something in life that you don't like doing, and this is one of the things that I don't like.
Yeah, there could be worse things.
It could be worse, but dealing with the people isn't so fun, right? But I've just decided that it's something I have to do. I just suck it up, smile, and instead of looking but my face doesn't lie. That's the worst part about me, is that when I'm really like my husband says, you can sit there and tell me nothing, and then but your face doesn't lie, right? So I'm trying not to roll my eyes and look like I'm totally disgusted. But whether I'm succeeding or not, I don't have a mirror in front of my face, so I don't know. But I'm trying. Since I had somebody try and get me fired because I was apparently rude on Christmas Eve.
I saw that.
That's okay. It's okay. It's funny because I remember exactly who it was, and she come in with a stack of lottery tickets like this, and I politely said, "Can I just put you off to the side for a minute? I've got these other people. I'll pull them through first." Because one had a loaf of bread and one wanted smokes. I'm not going to make them stand there and wait for 20 minutes while I'm dealing with this woman's tickets, right? After the third person, she got mad, grabbed her tickets off the counter, told me to go fuck myself, and left. So how I was rude to her and didn't,
Right. Yeah.
But remember, the customer is not always right, and I will throw it back at you. But again, my thoughts were, how does that person know that I'm not a single parent? How do they know that they weren't fucking with my livelihood? What kind of person actually does that? Unless you're being treated really unfairly or really poorly and being racist comments and all kinds of rude stuff, I would understand. But that's not what happened. But she took the time out of her day to phone and make a complaint about something that really was out of my control.
Some people.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at in this world.
Yeah. Well, let's see I got some stuff for us to go through today, and actually, StratCan got a big shout out to StratCan because they always have some good articles and some good information. So today we got some stuff from them, and we got some medical information as well. We got a study that here we're talking about before the show. We're talking about our medical conditions, me with Crohn's and you with colitis, and we'll have a study on cannabis and that coming up at some point.
We were talking previously to the part of the show about some of my son's health conditions and how I was at the pediatrician for 3 hours yesterday with him.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I didn't hide the fact that we are allowing him to use a vape pen. And the doctor didn't even flinch.
Didn't flinch, eh? Never didn't eject or anything.
Didn't eject, didn't advise against it, didn't say anything. He just kind of nodded his head and went, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's
Just
working for you.
that just acknowledge you heard it.
Well, he did. He said, hey, if that's working for you, and I explained to him that I've been licensed since 2012, and I've done a lot of research and educating myself on it, and I believe that it's, and he never disputed a fucking thing I said.
No,
He
eh?
didn't say anything negative about it. Because you always hear, well, you know, the brain and, you know, how it can, you know, stunt the brain and blah, blah, blah. They don't want anybody using it under the age of 25 because of the brain growth.
But what about SSRs? What does that? How does that affect the developing brain?
Exactly. So again, with that, there was also a prescription for Prozac, right? So my stance is I'd rather him be using a vape pen, honestly, than that, because it's a pharmaceutical, even though there's very few side effects and you don't get addicted, and it's not a weaning off drug. It's fairly safe, and it's been around for a long time, and it's got a lot of research, but it still can cause, you know, thoughts of suicide. Right. That is, and then, but he went through every side effect on everything that he gave him.
Good.
Like he was like 3 hours at a doctor.
Wow.
This wasn't waiting in the waiting room. When I said we were there for 3 hours, it wasn't us sitting in the waiting room for 2 hours or 2.5 hours and then getting a 20-minute, you know, and then out. That 3 hours.
I hope that he booked you for that much amount of time, because like I know like my specialist, he'll give you an hour and a half or 2 hours, even though you're only booked for half an hour.
Yeah, no, they booked him because our biggest concern is the long COVID. Yeah. So because we went in with the fact that he's got a diagnosis for long COVID from our GP, because nothing she seems to be doing is helping, and she's a general practitioner, she's not a specialist in children. So she figured the best next thing to do is send him back to Paul to see if they could do anything. So what they're doing too is he had a resident from the UBC working with him too, and they're doing a study on long COVID in children.
Well, it sounds like you got some.
There must be deer in the yard. Every time there's a deer in the yard, he goes off, right? He won't chase them.
He hasn't. Yeah, he did in the show before. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't chase them, but if he sees them out in the yard, he's going to tell me that they're there. No, he went out. I had a picture. Did you see that picture I had of the deer in the yard and him? He went outside, and the deer didn't.
I saw the one that jumped off your deck, though. The video.
Yeah, that was a video. But no, the other night we went out to go outside, and there was a deer parked like right in the front in the corner by the lilac bushes, and it didn't move. And he saw it, and I said, "Hey, you go back." And he went straight out back. That deer didn't move, and when he came in, I said, "Hey, you come straight." He didn't even chase that deer. The deer just did. He didn't even go after it. He is that good. His recall is that good. He is just an amazing dog. Good. But yeah, so back to so they're gonna put Taven into this, like they're gonna track and all his conditions and journal it, right? So we see the doctor again in 4 weeks. And then they're going to see the progression. But even like right down to the skin rash, they don't know what the hell's going on. They're thinking it's from him having COVID, right? So the hyper, like, and the sweating from the head, because he doesn't sweat anywhere else. He doesn't get any body odor. But when he gets anxious, he just starts dripping sweat from his head. And this never happened before he had COVID, right? So all of these things that are new conditions, he didn't have prior to the fourth time he had COVID. And the fourth time he had COVID was the fourth time. He's had COVID 4 times. So he had the long COVID, like from the second time, right? Then, or the third time, right? Then he went back to school after he dislocated his freaking elbow in September. And one of his little buddies had it then too. But we couldn't test because we don't have tests anymore.
Right. Yeah. I know we don't have the tests anymore.
So we're not sure it's 4, but he was sick again, right? But it seems like if any germ goes by him since he's had the COVID 3 times or whatever, like I said, 4th time might not have been, but again, every time that kid has had COVID, had anything go by him, he gets sick every time. His immune system is so like he's so anemic.
Immune system's
his immune system is beat so bad. Why even his eczema is like a red raspberry, and we've tried everything to get it under control. It would normally have worked before, isn't working now. So it's been a huge frustration for almost 2.5 years of dealing with it. Like all
big
through
battle. I know.
halfway through grade 8, all of grade 9. Now we're into grade 10. We're going on to year like 2.5 with this, and it's getting fucking old.
Yeah, well, hopefully, 3 hours, spending 3 hours and getting these things, and the ongoing test is going to go through that. Hopefully,
well, like I said, they've got like we saw him yesterday, and literally we've already been booked in for consultation with a colonoscopy with the surgeon today. The dietitian has phoned. We got an appointment on the 16th of January with her. It has moved fairly quickly for healthcare. That in British Columbia. Right now, like we're not saying we have a ton of doctors. There's still people lacking, general practitioners.
We have doctor issues as well,
right?
Here.
But when you have a doctor,
we don't even have a doctor. He's a nurse practitioner.
But we've got 3 pediatricians in town. It's not like we don't have any. We've got 3 pediatricians in town, right?
Wow. In your little, you got 20,000, right?
Right. So we got 3. But here's another thing. We have one lab in town to test blood. So he needs a blood test that it's going to take me 3.5 weeks to get him an appointment. You could be dead before you can get an appointment for your fucking blood work.
Yeah. Oh.
So there's some good things, and then there are some like lacking lab. We never had a walk-in clinic. Well, now we do, but now because we don't have a lot of maternity doctors, they're using that as a maternity clinic for because some of these girls don't have doctors, so they're using the walk-in clinic partially for prenatal. So they're trying to balance things and give people care. There's a lot of we're getting more nurse practitioners here too.
Yeah. Well, hey, I've always never had any problems with nurses, and I don't have any problems with nurse practitioners. So.
You know what? A nurse delivered my 3rd baby because my doctor had eye surgery, and he come walking in because Tyrus was early too. He come walking in with a patch on his eye, and it was the nurse that delivered my baby.
Let's see. Change the subject from babies and sickness. Let's change the subject over to the biggest cannabis stories of 2024.
All right, yeah, because it is a new year. It is 2025.
It is a new year.
This is our first show of the new year.
Yes, exactly. So, what I've got here is I've got an article from StratCan, and what they say are the top stories that they felt over the 2024, and they've got here some stuff listed. So they say wholesale prices rally. They say that the market continues to shift from a buyer's market to a seller's market. So in other words, prices are going up. I don't buy it.
Who's trying to phone me?
Who?
My husband.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So there you go. By what they're saying there, prices will be going up. Regulatory changes, they say, were some of the stuff that was going on. So they say that Health Canada's massive regulatory proposal in June. The proposed changes include regulatory amendments that align with the findings and recommendations from the federal government's expert panel's final report. They say the final draft of those proposed changes is expected in sometime in 2025. But an early election could impact them or even cause them to die on the vine. And we can get into that later. I got some stuff on that too. Israel and the international markets. I could just imagine this one's going to probably be to deal with Israel slapped some tariffs or something. They said we were being bad people.
They slapped tariffs on us?
Well, see, they charged us. Oh, here it was. They opened an anti-dumping investigation against cannabis imports of cannabis into Israel. They suggested
they could take that up with Stephen Harper. How about that? Because he's
they suggested adding a 175% tax to all Canadian cannabis imports.
Oh, well, that might Dykar happy. Dykar was specifically exporting to them because they didn't want to pay the Canadian taxes.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to make the Canadian companies just not export it then. And then that'll make it so they don't get any. Oh, well. Sorry, sucks to be you, Israel.
They also mentioned Australia. Some of the producers on Australia had the same concerns.
Well, Australia has tweed facilities already down there, honestly. And Tilray, and I think it's Tilray and Tweed that are already down there. I have to check with Murray, to be honest. But Murray's he's got a medical licensing in Australia now. He's licensed for, I think, 7 grams a day kind of thing down there. We were comparing prices. This was a year ago or so. The pricing down there, comparably to ours, was about the same, right?
Yeah.
But I think it was Tilray, not Tweed, Tilray that was down there producing. They had their own production site in Australia. So if they're down there, Canadian companies can go down there, set up, and then they're not paying the taxes. Then it's not an export. And that's what they'll do.
Is it?
That's what they'll do. They'll just up, ship, and go.
Locate there so they can produce, be able to supply the market.
Yeah, and that's what they'll do.
They say export markets into and through Germany, with Aurora and Tilray, Alfria, operate 2 of the country's 3 production facilities. And another one called Mother Labs is talking about going to Germany.
But here's the thing with all these countries that have now come around and legalized, they're also, the governments that legalized them are all falling. Germany's falling, right? Israel's in, depending what happens with Netanyahu and with his court cases. Trudeau's now been, resigned. What's going to happen to cannabis? What's going to happen if they do, because it's like I said, Germany too, like the Chandler, that government just fell too. So if all those legislations were brought in by the previous governments are then ousted by the new current governments, where does that leave all these big companies? Like these big companies that are investing billions of dollars into this, industry. Where is that going to leave them? Never mind the consumer. Okay. Let's face it, we can all go back in the closet if we had to. We could, we all know how to grow our own now, and we would all figure it out because we've been figuring it out for fucking half our lives anyway. So, that would be like, a non-stop. I wouldn't stop smoking cannabis. It became illegal again. I would just, I wouldn't, nothing would change. But again, for these big producers that have put billions of money, piled it in, what would happen to them? So that would be the only thing that would probably stop them from illegal, taking legalization away.
There is, I am getting to the political end changes of what could happen down the road with an election.
No, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's the ADD, baby.
And that's why I keep straightening your back, get you out of there. It's sucker time now.
Okay.
We're gonna get there.
We'll get there. Just
now, it also mentions here in this article that there's a Danish medicinal cannabis company is looking to bring its unique cannabis oil to Canada. Like, we don't import cannabis. Like, we have stuff that comes in to be, what we look for research purposes. But
no, they're bringing supply. Some of them are bringing in U.S. products.
Are they? You're talking a rec, or are you talking about medical?
Rec. No, I'm talking rec.
Yeah, I'm talking medical. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a medical company, so I was assuming it's for medical purposes. So.
Right.
Let's see. What else here? They say that provincial distributors streamlining supply. They said in July the OCS announced it was planning to begin reducing the number of products it carries in its warehouse by several thousand in the coming year and a half. You got too many products. You get a glut today.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that because it's all going into the one spot, and if they can't pump it out to the stores because the stores aren't buying it, then they're stuck with it too, right? Exactly. Meanwhile, are they paying the farmers when it arrives, or are they paying the farmers after? Because I would hate to see the farmers being the ones that get not paid.
That doesn't get paid. Another big stories they say was fines and other penalties. The AGCO fined, which is the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, fined an Ontario cannabis retailer $100,000 for illegal data deals.
Illegal data deals.
Yeah, that'd be in the stores. Collecting data, and you go in, if you become a member at a store, or you register for points or anything like that. That's all data.
Yeah, and we don't have those options at our stores. They don't offer that here.
No, they offer them here.
No, we don't get no points. We've lost a couple stores in our town. Actually, 2 of them.
There was a BC cannabis store was fined for selling cannabis at too low of a price.
What?
Yeah, I remember reporting on that. They were selling cannabis at too low of a price. That's right.
Well, I know they're limited to what discounts they can give. They're only allowed to give discounts to a certain amount once a week.
They have to keep it priced within a certain amount, and it was below that.
Wow. I guess it's the same as liquor. They don't want you selling, beer for any cheaper than what, they want the end of it to be, because then more people will buy it and become alcoholics. I don't know what their reasoning is for that.
They say that the AGCO, here again in Ontario, issued a notice of proposal to suspend the cannabis retail store authorization for Montrose Cannabis in Pickering, following inspections that revealed significant breaches of the Cannabis Act. Doesn't say what they were.
Pickering's a real interesting little town right now anyway, so.
Here's one that we know of. The Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club, an unlicensed medical cannabis dispensary, has been operating in Victoria since the 1990s, was issued a $3.2 million fine from the province.
Yeah, that really sucks.
Yeah.
That really sucks. And they can't really fight it. Like, that's the thing. There's no mechanism to fight them.
Yeah. Now it's just
like there's no mechanism. Like, you get a fine, a speeding ticket, whatever, you can go in and try and fight it. And, chances are you'll probably lose, but you can still go in and fight it. With these fines, there's no mechanism to go into a court and say, hey, I'm not paying this.
They say that a cannabis store in Kelowna received a 1-week suspension for failure to ID a minor. Another was fined $7,000 for failing to check ID, while there were 2 enforcement actions against a BC cannabis store.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, in federal politics, they say the industry was continuing to fruitlessly wonder if Trudeau even remembers that he legalized cannabis.
Oh, he remembers.
Let's see.
In June, when it came down to the politics,
we'll get into more of this later, but it says here, in June, a Conservative MP said he would vote to recriminalize cannabis if given a chance. In November, Trudeau and Poilievre traded barbs over the latter's attempt to conflate cannabis legalization with the opioid epidemic.
I'm going to chew my tongue on that one. I have nothing nice to say about any of that, because we all know that's a big fat lie. Propaganda being forged by the fucking right wing.
Yeah, and the
chances of Trump doing it and legalizing down there too is 0 now.
Now the last big story they say is the black market making a comeback.
Of course it is.
There was a survey they did that they came down. It was the Canadian Cannabis Survey, and it said 3%. I think you and I did the report on it here on the show. 3% of the people said that they were buying cannabis from the illicit market. But then in the survey, it was something like 75 or 80% of the people were rare users or rare consumers.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They consider anything being sold on the res black market.
So all those,
right? Even though it's sovereign land and whatever, but they still consider those black market, no matter how you slice it. there are still several dispensaries like running in downtown Vancouver that aren't legal. Several.
Yeah, we have them in Toronto as well.
Right. So
I've seen where they actually have said that they broke it down. There was 2% of the population was going to the reserves in one of the reports I read, and that was the only one that I've seen on it.
And I always and all these reports and all these polls and all these things, who the fuck are they talking to? Right? Like what dynamic, what demographic, like, and how many people, right?
That report did explain some of that. I don't have it in front of me to answer your question, but it wasn't people like you and me. It was more like the person who consumes once a month.
Yeah, and not like, you know, where they sit, where they get it, where are the polls, like where are these questionnaires?
It was they saying like more of the survey was filled out by beginners, newbies.
Well, that's fine too, but again, you're not there. Then it's not a real report, and it's not generated on real facts.
Yeah,
I think it's not intensive. It's not extensive enough. It's like it's fluff.
Yeah, it didn't cover like a wide range. It's just the way I had read from it. That's what it made me think of, was people who were light consumers, new consumers. It wasn't people like you and me that filled it out.
Well, no, and that's the thing. They're not targeting the right demographic for any of these polls.
And I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah.
But again, we've got so many, since the industry started, we have all these new people that don't even acknowledge the people that came before them, right? They think that they're brand new and they have all the newest ideas and all the smartest things. Yeah. And meanwhile, that's already been done.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, well, you know, things change. Just because you failed before doesn't mean you stop. You can still try, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But again, like I said, these people that are coming into the industry new, I don't know where their heads are at. It just kind of makes me think that they didn't do their educational research and they haven't done any, you know, background checking on what has been done. In fact, like, they don't even know when legalization or what went behind, what became of legalization, and how we got to legalization. Half of them. I don't expect them all. I don't expect them all to know, but I expect the ones that are working in the shows, putting on events, doing things in a big scale, to take the time to educate themselves about who came before them. Because,
well, you know, I have seen that going on. Can Expo, they've recognized people. Abby was recognized for her efforts and things that she did. And I don't even have to say.
Queen.
I mean, I didn't have to say.
Abby's a queen. An acknowledgement, that's like a slap in the face. Abby's a queen. She's an OG. Like, she was one of the very, it's like Sita, right? Nobody acknowledges Sita. Sita's an OG. Started the Amsterdam Cafe in 1998, right? OG. Yeah. Nobody even acknowledges her. And I think that that's a downfall of our community, honestly.
Well, you know, how often do you ever hear Michelle's name mentioned other than...
Exactly. Hardly ever, unless it's you or I, right? But that's the thing. There are some of us that will keep that memory alive till the day we die, right? Because we speak her name and we continue to tell her story. And that's the only thing we can do to keep her alive, right? Same with Tracy Curley. How often do you hear Tracy's name anymore? Right? And she's the queen too, right? But unless we speak of them and make sure that these newbies are being educated, and I know they don't like to hear it. And I know people don't, oh, you just got an ego. I don't have an ego. I think there's people, I don't even care about me. I'm talking about the people that actually need and deserve acknowledgement, like Michelle, like Tracy, Amy Brown too, for that matter. Like, sure, she's around and, you know, but you don't see anybody acknowledging her much anymore. She's an OG. Sandra Petite, for God's sakes. These people went down, they were charged and arrested and did time, like, you know, for working in a compassion club, helping patients. They went down in these raids, right? They were arrested.
Yeah.
Like, there's how many people
legalization, risking things, right?
Right, and none of that's acknowledged.
Having this compassion centers not reveal. You can't reveal where they were.
Right. And the security, like walking into COM the first time, you have to walk through a cage door and have your papers and your ID like this. Like, here's my license, my driver's license, and here's my paperwork.
Camera. Yeah, correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So it was very like, and you always acknowledge the fact that you could be in there at any time and they could get raided. Right.
For sure. Yeah.
So the risk of that, and none of that's acknowledged.
And we saw footage of stuff like that at COM. When COM was raided. Yeah.
Right. But again, those people aren't acknowledged. Like Chelsea Fisher too. And there's so many, Naomi, like all of those people that we protested on Parliament Hill with. You don't hear any of these newbies acknowledging any of that. So that just says to me that they're in this for the buck. They don't care about the history. They're not really into the community. They're just in it for the dollars.
Yeah, and we've got to go for break.
Yeah, I got a nasty message coming through saying, "You mean you call me?" He doesn't remember. Like, I don't understand how he can't remember. We do this for how long?
I know. Oh, I'm just gonna, before I forget, I'm just gonna say that if anybody's catching us on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Subscribe button.
All right. After break, we'll go and return. Tamara and I will continue our talk. We got lots more discussion coming up, and some of it I just got some funny feeling it's gonna get heated.
I will try and contain my rage. Okay. I took my meds today.
Okay, good. All right. Well, you're watching the Pace Radio Show. We're live here at paceradio.net. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection. We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from, the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have 2 lines of drinks. One is called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats, and look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford, Ontario. Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace re-rolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Hey, we're back. You're watching the Pace Radio Show, and we're live. Where'd you go?
I'm here.
I know. Well, you left.
Oh, I had to go and text and let them know that I was on the air. So I just had to turn my phone because I'm using my phone. Yeah, I'm using my phone tonight, right? Because I was lazy and didn't feel like setting my computer up. So yeah, I just that's where I went. But I actually found I was digging through my stuff and found an old Yokan, like with everything in it. Like I didn't even know I had this thing. It's even got like a vape portion that you fill it, like it shows you to fill it, like you can fill it this way.
Yeah, it's a refillable cartridge.
Yeah, I didn't even know I had this. So yeah. I'm going to use it for a waffle item for the CSD.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, waffle item. Good.
A waffle item. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Go back to me being, not crazy.
Okay. All right. Manitoba. Did you hear about what happened in Manitoba?
Well, I heard that they were going to allow them to start growing 4 plants, but I haven't heard much more than that.
All right. Well, right now they are seeking feedback on its proposal to do all this, right? Now they say that within the proposal, it would require that the 4 plants that you're growing, you have to grow them inside.
Okay.
You can't grow them outside.
I think for some people that would probably be better for security, right? Depending on where you are.
Okay, for example, if you live in rural Manitoba, you got a 100-acre farm, you can't grow.
I think that would be outside. I would think that would be allowed, but again,
like I know in BC you have a law where you can't grow your cannabis plants on your balconies, or it can't be seen.
It can't be seen. You can grow it on your balcony if you have a shade over top of it, but they don't really enforce it either. Like nobody's ever enforced it, right? Like that's the thing. Like they put all these regulations and stuff in, but who's enforcing it? It's kind of like when they wanted to put the meter plant thing in. Like we're like, what are they going to put a fucking measuring stick on the side of the cop's legs? Like what the fuck are they going to do? Like,
how are you genetics?
Right? Like, how are you going to be able to label, like put a barcode on a seed? Like, how are you doing that?
So, you have to grow your plants inside. So people have, says here, the public to respond on changes with proposed coming into effect April 1st. So on April Fool's Day, when they expect things to come into effect. The proposed regulations would allow a person who is 19 years of age or older to cultivate up to 4 plants in their ordinary residence. However, a person will not be allowed to cultivate cannabis plants in different residences at the same time, and only 4 plants can be in a home, regardless how many adults. So just because you own 6 houses doesn't give you the legal right to grow 24 plants.
Well, even out here too, like we can only have 4 plants, but even though there's 2 adults for them.
Yeah. The 4 plants, the federal max.
I think that's stupid. I think that was stupid right from the get-go. Because what if you got a roommate that's paying you rent in your house and they can't grow their 4 plants, and so you can, or you have to forfeit your ability to grow 4 so they can? Like that has been one of my biggest issues right from the get.
They have to realize that they're forfeiting their ability because it's not their. It is their ordinary residence, but
that's what I mean. I think it's unconstitutional. I think it's stupid. I said that right from the get go. 4 plants, 4 plants per person.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah, it's unconstitutional.
Now
you're
it's
taking
not
away somebody else's right.
Now this could be a key point, though. It's not a separate residential address.
But 2 grown adults, married couple in a house. I have to like, we can't grow 8 plants because there's 2
No,
adults in
I
the house.
can't.
And
I
I think
know.
that's wrong. So it's
If you
basically,
rent out a bedroom to somebody, and that's their ordinary place of residence.
why shouldn't they be able to have the 4 plants in that room? And I could have my 4 plants in my room. And then my husband could have his own room and he could have 4 in there.
But it's not that person's legal address is the same as yours. It's not a separate registered residence.
I totally agree with you. But I'm saying
But
the legislation is flawed. It's
Yeah.
unconstitutional, and
Okay.
it should be challenged, because, and I've said that right from the get-go. Why should 2 grown adults, even if, like I said, 2 roommates, 2 married couples, whatever, you got 4 adults in the house, you're taking away the rights of everybody else in that house because you're only allowing one person to be able to grow 4 plants. So everybody in that house has to forfeit their right because one person wants to grow 4 plants. Every adult over the age of 19 that resides in a home should be able to have the ability to grow 4 plants. So that means if you've got 2 adults, it should be 8 plants, not 4.
Hey, it sounds good to me, man. I'm all for it.
I've said that right
Yeah.
from the get-go. That's totally unconstitutional. Somebody else in your home is a grown-ass adult, is actually forfeiting their right to be able to grow 4 plants because there's 2 of you.
Well, they're legalizing residences then, maybe.
There's still, it is.
It's addresses. That person.
But it's the same address, right? So they want to make it only at
Same
one address.
It's
one
they're
address.
renting a room, right?
Yeah.
That person's address is.
But
still
again,
the
like you
same.
go back to the thing with married couples.
But I understand where you're coming from.
You know,
I'm all good with 4
I
plants.
would fight it in court. I would fight it in court. If I was ever like, say, busted and we had 8 plants and then I got a ticket or fine for that, I would fight that. I would fight that. I would take it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Okay, now here's a one. A proposed regulation states that a person who is cultivating cannabis in their residence may possess cannabis that they have cultivated that is not packaged, labeled, and stamped while that cannabis is in their residence.
But you're not allowed to give it away, and you're not allowed to take it out of your home.
How do you label, like, you grew your
you can.
plants,
but here's the thing:
they
allow you to mail 30 grams.
What's a label?
Right? I don't know.
If you've got all your
duty paid, that's their label. Duty paid. Duty paid. Duty paid, because you have that duty paid label on every packaging, which means that they have paid their taxes to the government. So the labeling that they're looking for is that duty paid sticker.
Would baggies be considered packaged?
Does it say duty paid on it?
Probably no, they don't. It doesn't even mention anything duty paid. Labeled. What's a sticker? A label could be just a piece of tape with the name on it, as far as I'm concerned.
That sounds ridiculous too. Like I said, some of these legislations that they conjured up in their consultations that they did, I don't know who the fuck they were consulting either, because they sure the hell didn't listen to us.
Now, there's something here. It says, a representative of the LGCA told Strat-Canada in an email Monday that this section of the proposed amendment of the cannabis regulation is not stating that an individual cannot bring cannabis they've grown legally in their home outside of their home. Okay. Individuals will be able to carry the equivalent of 30 grams or less out of their home, outside of the home according. Yeah, okay. There must have been a rumor going around that, that baggie that I'm talking about was a written label on it. Could be taken looked at as being a violation and saying that you couldn't carry it out of their home. But
that's complicating things way too fucking much.
Yeah. Now Quebec's the only province that still isn't allowed to grow cannabis at home.
Oh, they won't. Quebec is deporting people right now because they've got their own immigration laws.
Well, the Supreme Court agreed with them. So if the Supreme Court agreed with Quebec to allow Quebec not to allow growing, what stops any other province?
Any other province? None. It doesn't.
What stops the federal government?
But I don't.
We'll get into that. But I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah. It's what else is going on here? What else they got?
I tell you, I will put my boots back on if we have to, and I will protest every goddamn day to keep the rights we've got.
Now Kirk and Jesse, Jesse's the fellow who took this on, and we all know who Kirk Tusaw is. They all agree that it's a change. It gets things going. They're pleased with things, but as Kirk says, he says it's disappointing that Manitoba will continue to prohibit outdoor cannabis cultivation on the misguided belief that doing so will protect young people. Cannabis has been grown.
We're not protecting the young people. We have gatewayed them right to fucking meth.
Oh, I know. Cannabis has been grown outdoors throughout Canada legally for decades when you consider medical cannabis cultivation. And if I'm not wrong, I'm mistaken, I believe they always preferred us to grow outside. That way you didn't have that fire and the water damage.
And the mold and all the toxins in your house and causing all the problems.
Yeah.
That we've debunked in court.
Yeah,
my biggest, like I said, we still have that injunction, and it's an injunction, right?
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that this was filtered during our provincial election, that if the cons would have got in here, they were going to appeal that injunction.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah.
On the federal end, yeah. Because I know
I'm talking because that Allard is sitting in a British Columbia Supreme Court. It's not federal.
Oh, is it?
That injunction is sitting in a BC Supreme Court. It's not in a Canadian federal. If we lost that injunction, we would have to then go to the next step and take it all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada for our rights to grow.
Right. Yeah.
So if the Conservatives would have got in here, they had planned on appealing that.
Oh.
And that would have affected every medical patient across the country.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Here we go. Talking about elections. Strat-Can yet again. Always, like I said, they got good Canadian content stuff.
Well, the thing of it is, nobody wants to put the two and two together. But if it wasn't for politics, it wouldn't have legal cannabis.
Yeah, I know. It's right. You're right.
And I know we don't like mixing politics with cannabis, but if it wasn't for politics and cannabis being hand in hand together, we wouldn't have gotten it. Because we would always have to fight in courts. The government has never handed us anything as patients. We fought in court.
Correct.
Recreational legalization was the demise of the fact that the Harper government tried taking our rights away, and they had all these licensed production sites with big bucks behind it that even got us in the fucking door. Okay. So when we were going into the offices of all our MPs and stuff, we also had big bucks behind us from like all these licensed producers. I like Lisa Campbell to be one of them. Right. So we were talking to the big MPs and all the, mucks in Ottawa and showing them the fact that all these billions of dollars were stuck in these great big production sites and how many millions of dollars were going to go down the shitter and how that would affect the economy.
Well, here we go. So as we know, our Prime Minister intends to resign here in Canada. So Strat-Can has asked the question, could a new Conservative government in Canada, could it address the cannabis industry's concerns? What do you think? That's the industry's concerns.
The Conservatives will shut you down. You won't have anything to concern yourself with other than bankruptcy.
Let's see.
That's what you have to concern yourself with if you vote for Conservative. Bankruptcy. The shares are already struggling, right? The stock market's already struggling already with the cannabis shares and all this stuff that's going on. They're already exporting because they don't want to pay the taxation already that the Liberals have already put in on them. Why it's exporting out of Canada. Whatever. I'm leaving it at
that. Okay, they say here in this article here, this is a different article than what I thought it was. Because there's another one that talks about all the different things that could change with the new government. And who knows, maybe I'll find that one before we're done here. But they say here, They say the traditional stance on cannabis and other illegal drugs isn't typical one that would excite the industry, and that's what the conservatives end of it. As we know that they're not cannabis friendly, as they've demonstrated.
Not at all. I mean, I walked into one of their MP's offices in Canmore.
Mm-hmm.
He had never spoken to anybody about cannabis before, ever. We're talking Kevin Sorensen, who was the finance minister for the fucking Conservatives. Nobody's ever sat in his office and talked to him about any of this. They know nothing about it because they're uneducated about it, and they don't care to learn either.
No, I know anything. There's even one fella. He's from Red Deer.
Oh yeah, of course. His name. What's his name? Arnold. Arnold.
His last name starts with a V.
Yeah, Arnold. Arnold Vandenhauser is his name. And he wants to. Yes, Arnold. He's anti-cannabis. He's pro-life. He wants to reintroduce abortion laws and take cannabis out of the hands of everybody. He thinks cannabis is a gateway to heroin. He is an absolute white national Christian nut. And that's him and Michael Cooper are all like up, Poilievre's ass, like backbenchers. They've crawled their way forward because they used to be backbenchers, right? And if you, I don't know, I know you don't follow politics like I follow politics, but they were backbenchers. Now they're sitting in the front fucking row. You got to notice that kind of stuff. And if you're watching Parliament, you notice that shit. You notice the ones that are sitting in the back row screaming about abortion and all that shit. And then if you see them sitting next to the leader, be fucking very scared. And when you got Michael Cooper and Arnold Vandenhauser there on two of the committees and then sitting next to Poilievre, be very scared.
Now,
they're mealy mouthed.
Now, as far as what could an early election mean for the cannabis industry and pending regulations, it talks about the regulations that we mentioned earlier, these new ones that have been submitted, and they could possibly just die. They're already
dead because they're pro-government, so it doesn't matter now. They're already dead. They're dead now. Dead. That's true. They're dead. Right. They pro government, so they're dead. Anything that was sitting in any proposals that were sitting like that one there is gone. It's dead.
Correct. So I'm just going to skip right on past all that stuff, and I'm going to get into the conservatives and the cannabis issue, and how they've been over the years, and what could a conservative federal government mean for the industry. And they say this is a broad question that deserves an in-depth analysis, as there are many layers to consider. But here are some of the few high-level considerations, because the conservatives have several known talking points related to cannabis file that signal the possible direction that a new conservative federal government might take. How are they on the medicinal cannabis front? Kitty litter. That's what I always say, kitty litter.
I was just thinking that, but I didn't. I was chewing my tongue because how you took the words right out of my mouth. Well, mine came used though. I sent mine used.
Oh, I never got out the kitty litter, but
I did. Dana Larson.
Dana
Larson was encouraging us all to send 1 cup of kitty litter to Parliament box. So we all did. So I don't know, all of us, but I sure did. I sent 1 cup of used kitty litter in a box off to Mr. Harper.
Yeah, well, here it says under the medicinal cannabis file, they say the conservatives have in the past tried to make significant changes to their medical access program here, repeatedly forced to manage the medical cannabis file by the courts. Yes. And in 2013, the conservatives first tried to get rid of the ability for medical cannabis users entirely, with the approval from healthcare providers to grow their own cannabis or to designate someone to do so on their behalf.
And look at the cannabis they were sending us. Look at the shit they were sending us. Like, that was medical, like it was swag. It was like, hey, into the goddamn fucking
You got that gold envelope too from Prairie Plant Systems, did you?
Lincoln, Alberta.
Now they say
Manitoba, sorry. Yep, I sure did. And then the seeds that I ordered, I never did get them because I didn't need them.
I got the seeds.
Yeah, I had to order them. You had to. I was advised.
Yeah.
That if you were ordering from the government when you first got your license, you better order seeds too. If you had gotten a grow license,
legal way you could get your seeds.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I ordered those seeds and I never got them. And then
the strain was Sativa L.
We weren't supposed to clone our plants.
No, we weren't. Okay, now it says here. Okay. Now the messaging, they say, since that time hasn't changed much, with the big focus from many conservative MPs over the years to highlight how the personal and producer system is at times abused for the purpose of diversion. So it's not much of a stretch to assume they will continue to focus their aim on that. They're always yelling loophole.
Crack down on crime. We're going to build more prisons. Mandatory minimums coming your way.
Yeah. Now, from medicinal cannabis, let's move on to recreational cannabis. And this, yet again, is under the conservative thing here. And now, not only do Conservative Party members have a track record of trying to get rid of medicinal homegrowns, but many in the party have long expressed concerns with people having the right to grow their own cannabis. They say that this was one of the many aspects of cannabis legalization that the Conservative Party outright opposed on principle. With one famous, they outright opposed for us to grow our 4 plants.
We're just lucky that when that legislation was passed in 2015, we had a full majority Liberal government. And we had every one of those MPs on side. Carolyn Bennett was a huge voice for the cannabis. Hetty Fry and McClellan, those women stood firm, right? And I'm not kidding you. Like Carolyn Bennett was a pioneer helping forefronted, right? Yeah. So again, you had to be there, I guess. If you weren't at the convention in 2014 when the policies was put on the floor to be voted on, and when the Young Liberals brought that policy forward, if you would have heard the roar of the people clapping and the cheers when that passed at a unanimous yes, unanimous. There was no, and that was delegates like myself that were able to vote from across the country. A unanimous yes for cannabis legalization.
Okay.
The room just roared.
Now, one conservative MP suggested that young kids would be getting high with their parents' homegrown using their toaster ovens. I remember that. Now, another conservative MP compared homegrown cannabis to being able to make your fentanyl at home. Seriously.
Oh, okay. Have you seen how you make fentanyl? Did you see the pictures of that lab up in BC there where they have these great big green jugs that cost $100,000 each? You can't make fentanyl at home. It's not a product you can make in your bathtub. It's not acid, dude.
Okay, now a conservative senator, he proposed an amendment when it went to the Senate, and he wanted to remove the allowance to allow growing at home.
Yeah. They tried right down to the last fucking minute. Before it went to royal assent, they tried again.
Another senator tried to make an amendment so that you could only grow indoors. And even after legalization, the conservative shadow minister of health, Marilyn Gladue, told the Globe and Mail that the party would seek to ban home grows and further restrict personal and designated grow licenses while supporting larger publicly traded licensed producers.
They're corporate buddies.
Well, that's what they wanted us to do as patients, right? Yep, they wanted us to buy from the big companies.
And they forced us to for a while. Like they did. Yeah. They forced us to. Like we had no choice. They pulled our MMARs. They gave us the MN, what is it? I had one. MMPR, that's what it was. Medical marijuana production, not whatever it was, possession license. I had to buy from Broken fucking Coast to the tune of $13 a gram. right? It wasn't cheap. It wasn't affordable. There was no patient's discounts. You were paying more than $200 an ounce. So it was cheaper to buy it from the street. But if you had that licensing, if you didn't purchase from your producer, they would yank your licensing. And that was a threat too, right? So they, like, again, like, not affordable at all.
Yeah.
Like,
there's more onto this that I'm going to get into when we get back from break. So we're going to take a commercial break. And I'll switch my cartridge on my vape pen and get myself a drink. And
I think I have to do that too.
Yeah, we'll talk to you about 3 minutes and 32 seconds. You're watching the Pace Radio Show. We're live here at paceradio.net and the 420 Pace.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats. And look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford, Ontario.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace re-rolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
All right, we're back for the last segment of the night, and I'm just going to finish up that last tidbit there on about elections, with the elections coming up, and what effect could that have on the cannabis industry?
To be fair, we're looking at it probably won't be till October, is what I'm hearing. But it could be quicker.
I've heard May and June.
I heard May, June too, but it depends on some things, because now Jagmeet's backpedaling and he wants that pharmacare bill to go through. And now that they prorogued, that pharma bill is not through yet. So if they go back and they topple the government, the pharma bill will not go through.
Oh, all right. Well, to finish this off, I saw a report in the news that micro grows are huge. You know, they're very popular. They can be done much easier than a large LP. But they say here in this article here that that they're not efficient. They're not cost efficient because it takes a lot of staff and stuff to operate things, to answer the phones, to do inspections of these smaller places, respond to emails, phone calls, and things. So what they're suggesting here that is a possibility that if it's not efficient, that they could be cut. And they say that if you're looking to invest in cannabis, they're suggesting to go to a larger company.
I know it's hard to get their product out too because they're not growing as much, right? They're not as they don't have the turnover that the big ones do either, because the big grows can grow several different strains at once because they have the room and the ability, right?
Right. And then
or micro can only do whatever, so many plants. They can only grow so many strains. They can only output. So to be honest, considering too the fact that they're not getting paid big bucks for a pound anymore.
They still have to go through a light. No, they still have to go through a larger.
They have to go through they have to go through the exact same process a big micro or big licensed producer.
Yeah, but do they not? At one time, they had to go through a big LP to get through the.
Yeah, market. They had to get their product. The LP had to buy their product and then put the product to the boards.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
they put that out now. Any producer can go directly to the store here in British Columbia. Like the micro crafters can go direct to the store and they don't have to go through the LBD. Like they don't have to put their product through. They just have to have it approved by their they have to send, I think, samples into Health Canada. And the packaging might be done somewhere else, but they can go in and sell the product. And then the packaging and labeling is done in Nelson, I think is what I was told, because there's a production packaging site license there for the micro grows, right? Because they have to put the duty stamps and stuff and whatever, the proper labeling and whatever on them. And it's all like regulated packaging, right? And then it's taken to the stores, but they can go directly to the stores and sell their product. Like not in hand per se, but they can go and do the sales pitching and stuff. Whereas before they couldn't do that. There was actually like sales reps, like, how I have sales reps for, hair product and whatever, like we got tobacco sales reps and whatever in our store, right? Cannabis was doing the same thing. They would have sales reps that would come to the stores showing them product. They weren't allowed to give them any samples. And I don't know if they were carrying samples. They weren't allowed to have samples themselves, I don't believe, is what I was told by one of them. And then they had to travel around to all the stores in the area and try and sell the product from this licensed producer they were working for.
Yeah. Now, away from politics, on to studies. Educational information. And
it's always a good thing because lots of people need it.
That's right. Well, exactly. And this is the top 5 health conditions that women are treating with cannabis. What do you think?
I would say probably attention deficit, depression, anxiety, sleep, and eat.
Okay. According to a 2023 New Frontier Data Consumer Survey, the top 5 health conditions women are treated with cannabis are painful periods, heavy bleeding, menopause, perimenopause, irregular periods, bleeding, PMS, and PMDD. And
it helps me from killing people, and that's related to menopause. So
yeah. Now, there's top 5 health-related symptoms women are treated with cannabis are back pain, mood changes, sleep problems, headaches, and bloating. And what do you think? Symptoms and the conditions are completely related?
I don't suffer from a lot of that. Like I don't have bloating, so I would never know. I wouldn't know about that part of it. Headaches. I don't get that. I don't get those very often either.
All right.
Like I'm very rarely get a headache. If I'm super tired, I don't drink anymore, so I don't get a headache. But it was a good hangover killer in the morning. Like if you had a hangover, so that's
Yeah.
still a headache, yeah. But like I said, it helps me not kill people.
Yeah.
So that
Yes.
kind of covers
Yeah.
a lot. But
Yeah.
again, like a lot of it too, like attention deficit, right? And I know a lot of people like think, oh yeah, bad square, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's a debilitating thing that a lot of people suffer from that they don't want to medicate themselves for. And for years I was under that, too. But this does help along with the medication I take because that medication wears off, and it's not, and I don't want to be on it 24 hours a day. So when I'm
No.
getting that, like, because that's one thing that goes along with, like when I say I'm going to kill somebody. Rage is a huge thing that goes along with a lot of these disorders. Attention
Yeah.
deficit, menopause, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you add the two of those together. So, like I said, the Vyvanse doesn't help me with that. If it wasn't for this to help me with that symptom of the attention deficit, Vyvanse doesn't cover that. The cannabis does.
Cannabis does. Now they say that
So that's mood,
55%.
right?
55% of the women surveyed use cannabis products with THC. 18% use products with CBD. The top 3 product forms that women use to treat these symptoms are smoking flowers, edibles, and vaporization.
Yeah. And I
And
mean, the
90,
edibles part of it's good too, but like for myself,
yeah,
if I eat candy
yeah,
and they're too strong, I'm sleeping, and I can't do I can't do the edibles, like just because of my stomach, like
right,
the
yeah.
flour, the egg, the milk, like whatever it's made with.
Oh,
Like I
it's
made rice.
yeah, it's
I
like
can
what
do
we
Rice
do.
Krispie squares. Like to be fair, I made some Rice Krispie squares and I ate a little bit of that because Rice Krispie squares is just
I always caution on the Rice Krispie squares. It's the
yeah,
marshmallow. Rice Krispies are fine. It's the marshmallow.
yeah. And I mean, I used minimal marshmallows to be fair,
Yeah, yeah.
and I used a lot more Rice Krispie, and I
Mo-
used a lot of butter.
And moderation on the size, the amount that
Yeah,
you eat.
I didn't eat a great big chunk. I had a little
Yeah.
piece,
Now they
right?
say that 96% of the women who use cannabis to treat women's health problems say it is effective at managing their symptoms, with 40% saying it's very effective. So good numbers
And then
there.
what's the percentage of people that say it's not effective at all? Do they ever give
Well,
those
I'm going to
stats? How
say
many people?
if 96% of women who use it say it's effective, I'm going to say 4% say it's not effective
Or they don't use it?
did not know. That's all
That's a
it's
pretty good.
at.
That's a pretty high statistic then.
I
That's
say
pretty good.
so. I'd say it's
Well,
extremely
well,
high.
that's like, well, it's the thing. Like, I very rarely hear anybody say, "Oh, sorry," that it doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
I often hear people say they no longer smoke it because it makes them paranoid,
Oh
and
yeah.
I've been hearing that a lot lately from a few of my friends that have gotten older, whether it's menopause, hormonal changes, whatever. But they can no longer smoke it because it makes them paranoid. It gives them anxiety, heart palpitations.
Anxiety.
And
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, when you're not smoking the right strain, and like, no, I'm smoking indica. Like, I know what I'm smoking. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not stupid.
Yeah.
But something in their whatever, they just had to put it down.
Yeah. I wonder if it has to do with age, just getting older.
Well, that's again, like that could be a possibility too. Like, is your pituitary gland all dried up? Like, what's going on with your gland?
Yeah.
Like, your lymph glands. Again, your hormone levels are what's your estrogen, your
Yeah. Like
testosterone level. Like,
yeah. When you're younger, you're more able to take risks or more probable of taking risks and
well, I know as I
driving.
get older, I sure don't get the same effect from cannabis
Yeah.
anymore. I'm
Yeah.
finding it that I don't get the euphoric. I get more of the medicinal sides of
Mhm.
things where it relaxes me. It makes me, kind of like kind of, it just kind of like lays me back a little more. Whereas before I would
Yep.
kind of get the giggles and stuff. And, but I don't get high school high anymore. It doesn't matter if even if it's a newer strain, like, we went out to the res, we got some different stuff. I mean, I got some euphoric, but it was like, oh, okay, I'm high, and then I was sleeping. Like,
Yeah.
oh. So that's when I know it's good, because if it knocks me out, oh, that's good weed, right? But it only does that to me the first joint. After that, it doesn't do that to me again.
Yeah,
So I don't get the same effect.
Just stay at an even keel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's pretty potent, like, I'll smoke it and then boom, I'm sleeping. Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like 2-hour nap. It's like, holy shit, that stuff was good, eh?
Not last week, our last show, the one that we had before holidays, we had an interview with Tim Barnhart of Legacy 420.
That was a great interview. That was a good interview.
Yes. Well, over the holidays, I didn't really even turn my computer on.
Right.
I took a computer break. Yeah.
Why would you? Yeah.
Yeah. But the last, just before the holidays, the last day before the holidays, and a couple of days this week, I've spent some time, and I've done some work on that interview we did with Tim, and using it to help him promote the business, to help sell it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So I've created this little video that'll play, and I
know. I was telling my husband about the whole thing, and he was like, "Damn, I mean, it's not possible, right? It's just not." But he was like, "Oh, I wish." I said, "Me too. I wish that we could, have a facility like that. It's beautiful."
Yeah.
It would be a dream.
Out of our hour and a half that we had with him, actually it was almost 2 hours. It was an hour and 54-minute broadcast. But I took the important stuff we were talking about, the business, and brought all that, put it up at the beginning of the video, and then I've taken the stuff we were talking about, the history and how it all began, and put it in there. And then I've taken the videos, our commercials that we run of it, and put that in there to highlight the products. So anybody who's basically looking at it, possibly that might be interested in Legacy 420, the first 10 minutes is all about the business. It's all about how big it is, what's all in there, the lab, the equipment, so on and so forth. That's like 10 or 12 minutes long, all at the beginning. And then it gets into all the products that they make. And then it gets into, basically the history of the company. So hopefully, he can use it as a
promo for a sale. Yeah, absolutely.
Promo for it. Yeah. So it works out. It's like just under half an hour. It's like 29 minutes or something like that.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm gonna release that, and probably tomorrow I'll release it.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it's like I said, it's a complicated sale, to be fair. Like, it's not like just anybody can come in there and buy that, right?
Correct.
And because of where it's at, and that's respect for them, right?
Mm.
For absolutely working that business to the absolute top level, right?
Yeah.
Like, kudos to them.
There was so much going through when I was doing the editing that I had to say to myself, yes, that's important information, but does that relate to the sale? It's information I'd like to know, but does it? Yeah. So there's some stuff that I cut out that I wanted to keep in, but it was it just wasn't related to the sale.
Right.
Stuff that we were discussing or whatever, right?
Well, yeah, that stuff's kind of irrelevant to somebody who's purchasing it, right?
Yeah, we were talking
the history is good, because that's the thing. Like, whoever does buy that business needs to keep it because of the legacy of it, right? It is Legacy 420. Like, it is the number one First Nations business out there. Like, I don't see anybody else across Canada having that other than a licensed producer, and a licensed producer doesn't have that either.
No, no. We discussed everything from them, like I said, the first one. So I left all that stuff in the history end of it all, where it
Right.
all began. And when you purchase, really, when you purchase the business, that history comes along with the company.
Yeah.
It's all company history, right?
Well, yeah, and they're keeping the name and the clientele,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
buying an entity. They're not just buying the name, and they're buying an
yeah,
entity, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility. Like to fill Tim's
yeah,
shoes, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's got great staff, and I imagine the staff would all stay and help the new owner, continue on. But
yeah.
that was Tim's vision, right? So,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
big time, big time.
yeah.
So, oh, I can hear my dog. She's at the door, and Gail's in the shower.
Isn't that always the case?
That's
They always
always
need
the
him at
case.
the least opportune time. I just let the big guy out now and walk away
Okay,
and close the door.
I'm just gonna run a quick video, and I'll stop
Yeah,
it
go
when I
ahead.
get back.
All right,
All right,
sounds good.
all right. You'll probably be, you'll be. It's only 25 seconds. Right there.
Go ahead. Go
Are
ahead.
you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace re-rolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning. Oh, I made it.
You're lickety quick. That's awesome, Al. Doesn't take long. I'm ripping up them stairs. How's your leg? Like, is your leg feeling okay? Like, I know you were having issues with your leg.
No. The X-ray results didn't show like any like loose gravel, bone material like for arthritis or anything. They ruled it more of soft tissue inflammation. So, like the other day, I was driving into town, and it just felt like my knee was going to explode from the pressure on the inside. And then some.
Is your humidity levels going up? Like, is your humidity high?
Well,
and
I don't. It's winter.
And is it just your knee, or is it moving around? Like, is it just your knee,
No,
or is it moving?
It's mainly my left knee, but it does move to my right knee. Sometimes it's both knees at the same time.
My friend, that sounds a little bit like arthritis.
Yeah, well, that's what I questioned when I went in to see my nurse practitioner.
I would get your nurse practitioner to try and get you a referral to a rheumatoid specialist.
So she did the X-rays and had the X-rays ordered, and those were the results. Anyway.
Yeah, X-rays don't show that.
Yeah.
Now you have to get a blood test with it. It'll show in your blood test. Usually there's an inflammation markers. And if you're inflamed like you are now, a blood test will show that's how it shows. It'll show in blood test. All these arthritis that are immune, like psoriatic. Like, do you have psoriasis at all?
No.
Okay, see, I didn't either. But there's psoriatic arthritis too. If you don't have to have there's an inflammation, or just inflammation arthritis. There's rheumatoid arthritis. There's like 100 different ones, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And because you've got Crohn's disease, I'm sorry to say, autoimmune. Yeah. And because it's your soft tissue, does it feel like your legs are like it's like a broken bone?
No, it just feels like there's a lot of pressure at times. And other times it feels like it's just basically bone on bone.
Yeah, like I said, my shoulders and stuff feels like when you tear a rotator, right? And my hands feel like I broke it. Like when they get all swollen, it just feels like it can't move. It's all stiff and sore and swollen, and it feels like I've broken it, right? It just feels like, I don't know. It's just it might not be anything like that, but it's
Yeah, on the side, it feels like it's all inside the knuckle, right?
Yeah, in the soft tissue, like right in, like it's not the actual bone, it's not the actual joint itself, it's the cartilage and the tissue around it. That's what my shoulder is. So yeah, I get like there's points where I can't even touch, and it will just like.
If your shoulder flares up like my knee does, like just described, I can see why you yell and scream.
Right?
Yeah.
It does. It just, like I said, it's excruciating. It's excruciating. I feel for you, bud. I do. I feel for you.
But let's see what
Nothing
happens.
seems to help it. Try to, nothing really.
She said if it continues bothering, give us a call. So
Is the cannabis helping with the pain?
Yeah, I take I have my THC base that I take as a fluid that I drink. And then I've also got but she recommended if I need anything to take Tylenol for arthritis.
Yeah.
Because I can do Tylenol.
Slip me your address. I'll send you out some icy pot.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I gotta send another one out anyway. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah, send me your address and I'll take care of that.
All right. Okay, I'll do that too.
Not a problem.
I'll give it to you after the show.
Yep, definitely. Yep. Absolutely. Just, in my inbox. But yeah, I'll definitely take care of that for you for sure.
Okay. Oh, and
it's tough because as you get older, it just kind of and you keep hoping that it's going to be just natural based. You can just stick with the cannabis. You can just stick with the cannabis. But as things start breaking down, you have to stop sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
and another one with arthritis too. It just seems to be a common thing.
Yes, it's it comes with age, and it affects hiccups. Affect young people as well. So
yeah, childhood arthritis can be that's pretty prevalent too. Not as much, but yeah, age can do it to you. We're pretty. It's hard though because you don't feel like you're that old. Like
no, there's that meme that's around there. It says something about I'm that old I don't feel like that old person or whatever. There's one out there. I can remember thinking that, wow, I'm gonna be so old. I'll be 39 when the year 2000 comes.
Right? And this girl's like, I'm just so tired today, And I said, oh yeah. Like she looked like she was like 12. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna be 31. And I'm like, lady, when you're my age, I said you can talk to me about being tired. Like, holy. I feel so old. Wow. Said, you know what? You're the same age I thought I wouldn't make it to. So I'm pretty happy to be on this side of the dirt because I didn't think I was going to live to be 30.
Yeah.
So
well, hey, I've lived longer than what my father lived. Like he passed away from cancer. And
right.
I had cancer. I just lucky I didn't get it where he did. So
yeah. And I mean technology now too, like that cancer's not a definite death sentence anymore.
Yeah.
There are treatments and stuff now that have really advanced in treatment. Like I think of Deb's husband with with what was going on with his bladder, and they injected some biologic and it went in, and there was no and it was like a new technology that they've got.
Wow, really? They injected it right into the cancer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that portion was removed, and yeah, he's been good, but he's RSO. Like there was no, I don't believe there was any chemo. He did take he did, but he does do but he still does too, right?
Yeah.
But he's also like in his 70s.
Oh.
So you know what I'm saying? Like it was pretty hard. I wish my dad would take a little, little under the tongue, but there wasn't none of that. He was like, no.
I smoke
I think it gives us life. I think it gives us longer life. I think it's preventative. I think that people that use cannabis will live to be 100, like Jimmy Carter.
Well, yeah, exactly. Sure, I'll complain about being stiff and sore, but and I have my Crohn's disease, but I don't. To me, it's not as if I always thought when I was younger, people over 60 were old. Okay.
I know, right? I know 55 was like a death sentence, but now they've got medications out for colitis and Crohn's that's actually repairing the lining of your colon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's advertised on the United, like on the TV, on the States all the time. And it's a daily pill that you can take after you've been through everything else, but it actually like puts you into remission for up to 5 years. Like the study's been, people are still in remission, and it's actually repairing the lining in their colon.
It's well, repairing, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to remove scar tissue.
Oh no. I'm sure that there's some side effects, but again, instead of tearing the lining of your, like tearing the lining of your stomach and other bad, it's actually like repairing. So
that's good. That's good.
I mean, they are using technologies now that, like, heart transplants and lung transplants and all these things that have come so far with medical technology, right? People are living a lot longer. Like Jimmy Carter was the president in 1977, for God's sakes, right? And he lived to be a fucking 100.
He lived to 100. That's right.
100 years old, right? And I know several of the old folks here in town are over 100. We got some of them are 110 at the old folks.
I saw a picture of a local guy's mother, and she was 96, and you wouldn't think she was much, like 75 years of age, if that. Like,
my mom's gonna be like coming up here like 79. She goes to yoga at the senior center. You cannot, like, if you looked at my mom, you would not think she was in her late 70s. You'd go, oh yeah, 50. That's just, she never slows down. My dad's 84. And if, we looked at him, he looks like he's been sick, but I mean, they just don't stop, right? If you don't stop, you gotta just keep going.
You gotta keep going. If you stop, you stiffen up and yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what the bottom now. Anything else you want to discuss before we go?
No. Send money to the CSP. Weed money.
Yeah, actually, we never
I've got lots of tubes now. It's okay because I've been helping patients offsite, but I haven't been able to get out there. We've had snow. It's been cold. I got the meds and I've got it all packaged, and then my fucking battery I had issues with the car. It's just been a shit show, and I will not go out there alone. Right. And that's another issue. My other buddy's been on the road. He's a truck driver. He hasn't been able to go with me. There would be nothing stopping anybody from doing something to me and my kid. So I don't have anybody else to go with me. So that's been one of the reasons why I haven't made it out there. But anybody that I've that really needs it, I've met them offsite. So they've come off, whatever. So it's not like I'm not doing anything. I haven't been able to get out there to get them all the codes.
I saw you post that you had help from people off.
Oh yeah, I got candies made and everything. Like I said, I've got everything packaged. I got a package, but I also made candy, so I used a lot of that RSO. But I also have off patients that I gave syringes to, like full ones. They're cancer patients. Right. So out of some of those, out of the RSO that I got, they were given right to those cancer patients because they can use it under their tongue, right? I've got 2 of them. Yeah. I also give a full syringe off to my safe supply that's, not using, but then her grandmother just passed away. So she's been having a really hard time, and I've had to help her more than once a week because I'd rather be giving her the CBD caps and stuff that I've got here and the stuff that I've got here than her going and getting something from somewhere else. So I've been helping her quite a bit too, right? Yeah. So it's not, like I said, it's not like I'm not helping anybody. It's just that it's not been the big Saturday afternoon go because I don't have anybody to go with.
Yeah.
And I mean, lots of people offered, but then when you ask them, like, can you come with me? Nobody's available, or they just don't, and it's like herding cats. It's the same.
And you
have to have dedicated volunteers, and I have,
That's the thing. You need dedicated suppliers. You need dedicated.
Oh, I've got dedicated suppliers. The suppliers and stuff really aren't an issue. Like I can keep pumping, like the AC pot's out at Dirty Darts too. So that's another, avenue. And so it's not like the supply is not there. I can keep pretty sustainable between that and other donations and stuff. I've got a lady that just sent me a whole box of toques again, and toiletries. Dakota Evans, I love you. She's from Ontario. She packs me a box up, and she hand knits all this stuff, right?
Oh, really?
So I just got another full box. Yeah, she fills up one of those prepaid boxes and it's stuffed full of toques and mitts and toothpaste and everything else, and that's her contribution, right? And
Nice, nice.
that's the second one she sent to me, and they love those because they're soft and they're homemade, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so I've got those, and and I've got another girl in town that just dropped me off like a bunch of soups and stuff. So again, it's there, that stuff's coming in, and I can, like I said, if I can keep baking and doing stuff and getting stuff out there and having the few donations that I do have coming in for cannabis and stuff, because that helps too. Then I don't have to, but I just exchange, like, but I didn't sell like a whole whack of candy out there. It's,
Right.
still going, right? Like I didn't expect to have like all 40 packages sold. I sold
No,
4.
no, it's not. Yeah, yeah. It's
Like
not
I
all of a
sold
sudden
4,
flood
not
of
40.
sales. Yeah.
Right? Not
Yeah.
everybody eats them. Like not everybody's, not
No,
everybody's into that
people
kind
have
of
to
stuff.
find them and discover them, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You gotta start, from zero sales and build up.
Yeah. And like I said, they're not big bucks. They're selling them for 15, and that's all coming back to the program. And honestly, I just gave them the money and grabbed them so I could have product to take out to them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't, like, there was no, like, it's like I'd rather, like I told them, I'd rather barter.
Right.
You keep that and I'll just take that, and we're all good, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Works better
Good.
for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
Because you probably need those supplies anyways, and you would get, and being that they're there, why not buy them there at the same time? So
well,
yeah,
they're helping me, right? By
yeah, for
doing this
sure.
for me. So why wouldn't I
Support each
want to,
other.
right? Exactly. Keep
Yeah,
it local if I
yeah,
can, right?
sure.
Again, like I said, for them it's good. For me, it's good. It's bad for me in the wintertime because I don't get out there as probably as often as I should, because I don't want to drive out there. Like my tires are not the best. My car needs exhaust work still done. I can't afford to get that fixed. I don't have $1,200 fucking dollars to just throw down on that. Like that's 2 weeks work for me. Like I just,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Alrighty. Well, other than that, anything else?
no.
Email
I guess.
for
Oh,
contribution.
Tamara, yeah, TamaraLee3@gmail.com. And I will be having a show on Monday, and Daryl Fate is my guest. But now that we're all over the big
Yeah.
drama on Monday.
All right, and everything else. Okay. Other than that, I guess it's time to say goodbye. Just a reminder that everybody know we'll be back next week, same time, same places. Thanks to our sponsors, legacy420.com, Limestone City Hydroponics.ca, the Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, as well as At-Eze.ca. And thanks to everybody for tuning into the program. We'll see you all later. Thank you, and good night. I got to get the button. There we go. Found it. Let's share PACE everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.